Love your shirt.
How has the country's current situation with school shootings affected our departments?
Well, fortunately, our department is very progressive, so we have had active shooter instructors for 8 years now. I have 17 officers and 6 of us are active shooter instructors, which means that not only are we instructing, we're constantly training. And my department trains every year. We usually have the high school and the grade school, and while you guys are out on summer break, and we come in here and we train. And we take it very serious. When I first started, my first probably 12 years, there was no active shooter training. We just had our normal firearms training, but now we use real-to-life airsoft guns, we use all that, and as Chester citizens, y'all are very fortunate because you have officers that are very well trained and we're very well equipped. We have all the equipment that we need in order to thwart a school shooting. We have pepper ball guns, we have flashbang grenades, we have everything that we have things that you wouldn't even imagine that we have. But we have, this literally is something I think about every day. That's why I spend so much time in the schools. And the COPS program at the grade school that I teach for 5 months out of the year, 4 months out of the year, that's nothing more than, for number one, for me to get in there and spend time with you all. But secondly, I want people to see me in that school, and I want people to drive by there and say, wow, there's a squad car there. And that's why when I come here every day, I come at different times and I come in different doors, because I don't want anybody to understand my pattern. I want it to be as random as possible. So, yeah, you guys get good questions. And if you guys remember from the COP program, I still drink the blue water. Do you remember that? You guys used to call it toilet water? That was funny.
Okay.
If you have a question, I don't suggest speak or something, okay?
Okay. Good question. I know you guys had some others on the school safety issue. Anybody else?
Ask me anything. You guys know me. I will answer anything. Yes, sir.
And what would your police team's plan be if there happened to be an active shooter?
You're actually probably going to learn that this year. I talked to the superintendent, and we're talking about having an active shooter drill and training where you all are involved. And it's going to be something scheduled, obviously, because having a surprise active shooter drill is absurd, right? Because you don't know if it's real or fake. But I'm hoping that that happens. And can I ask you? Can you be like super specific what you're asking me, because that question is kind of broad, and I want to make sure that I'm answering your question. What is our plan?
Yeah, like if there was an active shooter in the school, just kind of how would you go about stopping it?
We go right to the shooting, okay? There's been some instances in the past where they have chained the doors shut so we couldn't get in, and my officers have been instructed to run their cars through those doors. Get in here at all costs. It doesn't matter how you get in here, just get in here. But our response is also indicative of your response that hopefully you get to learn, and it's the 4E concept is what we use. The first E is educate, okay? The second, why don't you guys catch up so I'm not talking over you. The second one is evade, and what evade is the classical lockdown, where you have your doors locked at all times, and you have your your windows are covered, that's good. And even a window there covered, and you're being quiet, that's evade. And the next one is escape. Okay, what escape is if you hear something and it sounds like a gunshot, run out of the school and run until you can't see the school anymore. And I've always told my daughter throughout her school, you know, she went to St. Vincent's in Perryville. I said, if you hear something, run out of that school, get out of there, get as far away from that school as you can. And she said, well, what if it was somebody that dropped a book or something? And I said, run, figure it out later, and if you get in trouble, I'll come to school and I'll defend you, okay? And the last one is engage, okay? And what engaging is, and like I said, I try to tone this down a little bit for younger students, but since you all are basically adults, if somebody comes through that door right now with a gun, okay, and shoots one of you, and every one of you run to him and attack him, or you're throwing like the candle holder or whatever the case may be, he can't get all of you, right? So you have to defend yourself. This is life or death if this happens. And all of these things that I'm telling you apply to at home, or if you're at a restaurant, or if you're at a movie theater. And just because, and I hate to be morbid, but this is my paramedic background speaking, just because you're shot doesn't mean you're dead, okay? You can still fight, and you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for your classmates' life. And I'm sure Mr. Springsteen would be fighting just as hard, you know? But there is no way in the world, there's a difference between acting and reacting, okay? If you're acting, like if everybody in this room bum rushed me right now, there is very little likelihood that I could even get to my gun before you guys all got to me. You know, and there isn't anything I could do. Doesn't matter what kind of equipment I carry, it doesn't matter what I bring into this room, I can't whoop every single one of you. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And that goes for 5th grade on up, you know. And if you're throwing stuff or trying to attack me, if I'm doing this, I can't be doing this, right? So just remember that. Those 4 E's are very important, and I hope we actually get to put that into practice this year. I think your superintendent seems very progressive, so that very well may happen. Another good thing would be a school resource officer, and we're also looking into that, having an actual school resource officer that goes between the grade school and the high school. So that might be something coming down as well. I'm so sorry about this.
Okay, well, it looks like we're gonna have a chance to ask more. They all worked up questions, and I told them at least pick your favorite one. So I think if you guys wanna get down to the second and third questions, have at it.
I'll stay here as long as you ask.
You did have some good questions on the school
Yes.
safety part.
What are your thoughts on metal detectors and security guards?
I think metal detectors are a good idea. However, you need to have a vestibule. And do you know what I mean by that? A vestibule is like when you come into the door, like the main door, and you have to limit people's access to the school, right? You can only come in 1 or 2 spots in the school. So a vestibule is you walk into it and a door closes behind you and there's another door here. And the person has to visually inspect you to get you in, and then they can buzz you in. But the vestibule only works if it's not glass, right? Because what's gonna happen if it's glass? They're gonna kick it out or shoot it out, right? That's what happened in Sandy Hook. They had a vestibule, the person walked into it, shot it, and just kept walking. And once again, the door being locked, you know? That, all of that killing in Sandy Hook, that tragic killing happened in one room. And what happened was, it was a substitute teacher who was outside fumbling with her keys because she didn't practice how to lock the door, you know? And she didn't know which key it was. Well, the guy shot her and went into that room. All the other rooms were locked. So, I mean, it's a tragedy, but it's all about preparedness. A vestibule would be perfect. See, like, schools, especially an old school like this one, which is, I love this school, I think it's beautiful, but these schools were built to be inviting, to invite people in. Just like the hospital, every hospital, they're built to be inviting. But now if you look at the makeover from this hospital, now you can't get past the administration, do you know what I mean? Every one of those doors is locked and reinforced. So what they're doing, by putting different types of doors and stuff in, they're, without you realizing it, they're controlling your movement away from people. You have to be authorized to go into these different areas. And that's what the school would have to do. And I'm sure if and when they ever build a new school, security will be at the forefront. But like right now, what they could do is put metal detectors in with a vestibule. And the only problem is aesthetics. Are you familiar with that word? Aesthetics? They want it to look pretty, right? And if you have to walk into a metal gate, people will be like, what, going into prison? Well, no, you're not going into prison, you're going into a secure facility. You know, there's a big difference, but I've talked at length with it. One of the parochial schools in town, I am always on them about their security because they think that the fence outside is sufficient. You know, the fence is this high. Which one of us can't jump over a fence that high? You know, it's absurd. But you have to take security serious, you know.